Om Shri Padmatmane Namaham. Namaste devotees and Jai Sita Ram. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to our Sunday morning satsang this beautiful July 31st, 2022. And I do apologize for the delay in starting. We moved service to being virtual today. I have a lot going on this week, and I had a few technical difficulties getting everything set up because it's been so long since I've actually recorded from my home. But with that being said, before we start with our service for today, devotees, let's let you join together with me as we sing this very beautiful bhajan, as we prepare our minds and our bodies for service for today. स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार, ईश सगुण निरगुण विनाशी, माता पिता यार, ईश सगुण निरगुण विनाशी, माता पिता यार, तोरे भाई हम वास्त सदाही, तोरे भाई हम वास्त सदाही, तार हमें संसार, स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार, तीर्थ माया गुतला कावे, पुण्य परसार, तीर्थ माया गुतला गावे, पुण्य यहाँ पर सार, संगति संतन नीम चलावे, संगति संतन नीम चलावे, शोभन सब व्यवहार, स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार, रंजन सब नर नार, रंजन सब नर नार. At this time, devotees, ask that you join together with me now as we go ahead and clasp our hands and close our eyes. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, relax your spine, drop your shoulders, relax your neck, relax your forehead, relax your entire body. With your eyes closed, void your mind of all negative thoughts, all earthly desires, and all attachments to this physical world. And focus on a form of Bhagwan that's most pleasing to you, one that will help you concentrate, one that will help you focus. And join together with me as we chant our opening prayers. Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamurachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Ishavasyam Niram Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tektena Bhunjita Magrudhakasya Swidhanam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. At this time, devotees, ask that you all join together with me now as we join together in chanting the most powerful mantra in this universe. As we join together in chanting the Gayatri Mantra. Om Magakshe Varade Devi Akshare Brahmavadini Gayatri Jagat Mathare Vishwayoni Namostute Om Bhuri Bhuvaswaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhuri Bhuvaswaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhuri Bhuvaswaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Hari Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Prem Gayatri Mata Ki Jai. As we begin offering prayers to the various devotas, devotees, we offer obediences, first and foremost, to that remover and that destroyer of all obstacles in our life and in this universe. We join together as we offer praise to Lord Ganesh. Om Yajananam Bhutanganadhi Sevitam Kapita Jambu Palachara Bhakshanam Umasutam Shoka Vinashakarakam Namami Viganeshwara Pada Pankajam Namami Viganeshwara Pada Pankajam Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabham Nirviganam Kurumi Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Om Raksha Raksha Ganadhaksham Rakshatrelokya Rakshakar Bhaktanam Bhayam Kartha Trata Bhava Bhavananavad Om Shriman Mahaganadhipataye Namaham. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Ladavana Kabonga Lage Santa Kare Seva. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Ekaranta Dayavanta Chara Bhuja Bhari Mata Ke Sindur Soe Musake Savari Dukhiyo Ke Dukha Harta Paramananda Deva. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Andan ko aankarite Korean ko khaya Banjan ki putra riti nirdhan ko maya Bhav se par karo nath bhajan karo Tera. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. जो तेरे ध्यान करो ज्ञान मिले उसको छोड़ तुझे और भला जाऊं मैं किसको हे देवा कृपा करो कष्ट हरो मेवा. जय गणेश, जय गणेश, जय गणेश देवा माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा. जय गणेश, जय गणेश, जय गणेश देवा माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा. लडवन खभोंगा लगे संत करे सेवा. जय गणेश, जय गणेश, जय गणेश देवा माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा. जय गणेश, जय गणेश, जय गणेश देवा माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा. माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा. Om Shriman Mahaganadipate Namah. Prem se bolo Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai. This week, devotees, and Serena and I have been talking about this a lot, marks the new school year for a lot of students here in Georgia. Here in Georgia, at least. Remember, we get off in May, we start back in August. So for the students that are starting back school tomorrow, and for the teachers that are beginning to teach their kids tomorrow, we offer prayers to that mother of knowledge and learning and that mother of clarity of mind. We offer prayers to that mother of patience and that mother of understanding. We join together as we prepare for the school year to ensure that we're mentally, physically, and emotionally ready by offering prayers to Mother Saraswati. Om Saraswati Mahabhage Vidye Kamalaluchane Vidyarupe Vishalakshi Vidyam Dehi Namostute. Om Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Udhyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Siddhiram Bhavatu Me Sada. Om Mahasaraswati Namaham. Prem Swara Saraswati Madha ki jai. As we continue to offer our prayers, devotees, we offer obediences to that mother, that universal mother, and that destroyer of all evils in our life. We join together as we offer prayers to Adi Shakti, Durga Mata. Om Mahadurgaya Namaham. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhandra Kali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadhana Mostute Jai Tvam Devi Chamunde Jai Putharate Niharadini Jai Saravagate Devi Kalaratri Namostute Adevi Sarvabhuteshu Vishnu Mayeti Shamdita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Buddhi Rupena Samstita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Lakshmi Rupena Samstita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Sanstita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shraddha Rupena Samstita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shanti Rupena Sanstita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Tushti Rupena Sanstita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Daya Rupena Sanstita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. As we pray to Mother Durga devotees, we say, O Durga Mata, Thou art the universal mother, and we, your children, worship you in many forms. O Ma, we see you as Buddhi, wisdom, Lakshmi, prosperity, Shakti, energy, Shraddha, faith, Shanti, peace, Tushti, contentment, Daya, compassion. And as we pray to you, O Ma, Namastasye, 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 Namo Namah. As we pray to you, O Ma, we bow to thee again and again. Devotees, we join together in offering prayers to Mother Durga in the form of the universal mother, Matri Rupe. Ya Devi Sarvam Bhuteshu Matri Rupena Samstita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. Dehi Saubhagyam Narugyam Dehi Me Paramam Sukham Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yashu Dehi Tvashojahi. Om Prem Adi Shakti Durga Mata ki jai. At this time, devotees, we now offer prayers to the most influential beings in our life. And I know I gave everybody homework last week. We're going to defer that till next week, so you all get one more grace week to answer the question of who do we worship on Saturday? What is the name of Saturday called? And what color is involved in Saturday? But for now, we offer prayers to the most influential beings in our life. We join together as we offer prayers to the Navagraha Devata. Om Navagraha Devataye Namaham. ब्रह्मा मुरारी स्त्रिपुरान्तकारी भानुशशि भूमिसुतो बुधश्च गुरुश्च शुक्रः शनिराहुकेतु सर्वे ग्रहाः शान्तिः करा भवन्तु सर्वे ग्रहाः शान्तिः करा भवन्तु. With today being Ravivar or Sunday, we join together as we offer prayers to that sustainer of all life in this planet, and that being that exists in the form of the sun. We join together as we offer prayers to Suryanarayan Bhagwan. Om Suryaya Namah, 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 Suryaya Namah. Adideva Namastubhyam Prasinha Mama Bhaskaram Divakar Namastubhyam Prabhakar Namostuti. Suryaya Namaha, Suryaya Namaha, Suryaya Namaha, Suryaya Namaha. Om Prem Suranam Graha Devata ki Jai, Prem Samuru Suryanarayan Bhagwan ki Jai. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we offer obediences to that sustainer of all things righteous, all things dharmic in this universe. We join together as we offer prayers to Lord Vishnu. Om Shri Vishnuve Namaham. Om Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Surisham Vishwadharam Gaganisandrisham Megavaranam Shubhangam. Om Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanayanam Yogi Bhirdhyanagamyam Vande Vishnu Bhavamayaharam Sarvaloki Kanatam. Om Sashanka Chakram Sakirita Kundhalam Sapita Vastram Sarisirurekshanam Sahara Vakshastal Shobikostum Bhashriyam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturbhujam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturbhujam. Om Prem Shiva Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. And finally, devotees, we join together as we offer prayers to that universal Father and that universal Guru, as we offer prayers to that destroyer of all evils in our life in this universe. We join together as we offer prayers to Lord Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Karpurang Haurang Harunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujagendraharam Sarasantam Hirdayardavande Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami. Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami. Shiva Hare Shiva Rama Sakhe Prabhu Trivarta Panivarane Vihu Aj Janishwariyadav Paimam Shiva Hare Vijayam Kurumevaram Shiva Hare Vijayam Kurumevaram Kamalalochana Rama Dayanidhi Guru Gajarakshaka Gopati Shivatano Bhavashankar Pahimam Shiva Hare Vijayam Kurumevaram Swanaranjana Mangala Mandiram Majatite Purusha Paramam Param Bhavati Tasya Sukam Paramadbhutam Shiva Hare Vijayam Kurumevaram जय युधिष्ठिरवालभ भूपते जय जय अर्जित पुण्य पयोनिधि जय कृपामय कृष्ण नमोऽस्तु ते शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरम् भावविमोचन माधवमापते सुखविमानसहंस शिवारते जनकजारत राघव रक्षमं शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरम् आवनिमण्डलमङ्गलमापते झलदसुन्धर राम रमापते निगमकीर्तिगुणार्णव गोपते शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरम् पतितपावन नाम मयीलता तव यशो विमलं प्रेगीयते तदपि माधवमं किमुपक्षते शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरम् अमरतापरदेव रमापते विजयतस्तव नाम गणोपमा मयि कथं करुणार्णव जायते शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरम् अनुमतं प्रेयातापकरं प्रभु सुरत्सहृद्रेतसिंहार हे गुरु मानवैभावं स्मरणं कृतं शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरम् नरहरिरतिरञ्जन सुन्दरं पतत्या शिवरामवतस्तवं विशति रामचरणं नरम्भुजे शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरम् शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरम् शिव हरे विजयं कुरु मे वरम्. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Devotees, we offer this next prayer for all the suffering from various illnesses, diseases, injuries, and ailments. We ask that they have a fast, speedy, and full recovery. We also offer prayer for those transitioning from this world to the next. May the passage be a smooth and tranquil. Om Dhayambakam Yajame Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukamiva Vandanat Mrityurmukshyo Mamrutat Om Trayambakam Yajame Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukamiva Vandanat Mrityurmukshyo Mamrutat Om Trayambakam Yajame Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukamiva Vandanat Mrityurmukshyo Mamrutat Om Gangarapate Namaha Om Kartikeya Namaha Om Nandishwaraya Namaha Om Vasukiye Namaha Om Shri Samvasada Shivaya Namaha. Prem Sabaro Shiva Shankar Bhagwan ki jai. Devotees, for all of us who have a guru, we offer a prayer to our guru. If not, then I ask you take Lord Shiva any day within your mind as your universal guru, as you join together with me in praying. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Om Dhyana Moolam Guru Murti Puja Moolam Guru Param Mantra Moolam Guru Vakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa Prem Sabaro Guru Deo ki jai. As always, devotees, before we commence with our sermon for today, we join together as we offer prayers to Lord Ganesh to remove obstacles in our way, Mother Saraswati to clear our minds to allow us to learn from the scriptures, and we offer a prayer to our Guru and all that came before us to help teach us and learn along the way to be where we are at this point in time. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirviganam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Om Saraswati Namastubhyam Vadade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaham Prem se Guru Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai Prem se Guru Saraswati Mata ki jai Prem se Guru Gurudev ki jai. Bhagavatam Puran Srimad Bhagavatam Puran Bhagavatam Puran Srimad Bhagavatam Puran Bhagavatam Shri Bhagavatam Srimad Bhagavatam Puran Bhagavatam Shri Bhagavatam Srimad Bhagavatam Puran Bhagavatam Puran Srimad Bhagavatam Puran Bhagavatam Puran Srimad Bhagavatam Puran Srimad Bhagavatam Puran Srimad Bhagavatam Puran. Devotees, last week we had continued on with chapter 13 of the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, which talks about Raja Dhritarashtra and him leaving home or quitting home. And we introduced a few unique and certain characters, one being Vidura, who is the half-brother of Dhritarashtra. And essentially, Vidura was being asked the state of the world, the state of the kingdom after the war and everything that was going on. And we covered a lot of the information that he was saying, that he was talking about. Eventually, we got to verse 18, where he's talking to Dhritarashtra and he's saying, you need to withdraw yourself from this world without delay, because just see how fear is ruling your life. This material world, O Master, there's no help from anyone or anything to escape this fear, because that fear comes from concern, the Supreme Lord who approaches us in the form of eternal time. And he's talking to him about things that are going on with him, his mind, his body, his soul, his state of affairs, essentially everything going around him, because he's no longer living in his own kingdom. Even though he's still a king of the Kuru dynasty, he's still living under somebody else's roof, somebody else's dynasty, somebody else's rule. And he's also at a point in his life where he doesn't need to worry about the material things in this world anymore. There's balance that's been brought, the war is over, so what is his primary function? What does he have to do left? He says, you've been blind since you were born. Your hearing is not so good anymore. Your memory falls, and recently your teeth loosened. Your liver gives you trouble, and you are loudly coughing. Alas, how the powerful the living being's attachment to life is. It's strong that it makes you just like a household dog, eating the remnants of food that's left over by others. How can you subsist on the grace of those whom you tried to burn and poison, and whose wife you have insulted while usurping their kingdom? Whether you like it or not, you will, however much value your life, have to face the fact that this miserly body will dwindle and deteriorate like an old garment. Someone is courageous and wise when he no longer being able to use his body properly, unconcerned and free from all obligation, leaves for an unknown destination. Anyone who, by his own understanding or having learned it from others, arrives at consciousness and resignation of the world and leaves his home with the Lord installed in his heart is certainly a first-class human being. All things we talked about last week. I won't reiterate and re-describe what those things mean. So Vidura ends by saying, therefore please leave for the north without letting your relatives know, for hereafter soon the time will arrive that diminishes many of the qualities of men of Kali Yuga. So he says, leave. Don't stay here any further. Go ahead and leave. But you don't have to tell anybody. If you need to leave, you do that off your own accord. It doesn't have to concern the affairs and the ideologies of other people. You leave because that's your duty. Let them serve their duty. You don't need to tell them. Having heard the old king of the family in respect of the wisdom of his younger brother, Vidura, determined broke with the strong family ties and left in the direction that was set for the path of liberation. Notice how we talk about the path of liberation. We talked about moving north. He said, go move north. There's really two very dharmic positions or dharmic cardinal directions that we exist by. That's the easternmost path and the northernmost path. So in this case, he's saying that for you to attain Dharma, for you to actually let go and to achieve what you need to, go ahead and move north, go north. So as he left and chased the worry of the daughter of the king of Shubha, followed her husband to the Himalayas, a place that is the delight of those who took up the staff of renunciation like they were fighters accepting a justified beating. Returning to the palace, he who considered no one his enemy, who we're talking about Yudhishthir, wanted to pay his respects to the elderly after he had worshipped the demigods with oblations and offered obediences and gifts of grains, land, cows, and gold to the Brahmins, but he could not find his two uncles or aunt Gandhari. Anxiously he turned to Sanjaya, the son of Gavalanga, who was the assistant to the blind Dhritarashtra during the battle, and said to him, "Where is our old blind uncle at?" Because Yudhishthira was like, I'm doing all these things, where is Dhritarashtra at? Where did he go? He didn't, because remember, Dhritarashtra just left off his own accord. He didn't tell anybody. He didn't want to bug anybody, but it's also in his duty to fulfill his own destination without worrying those who still have attachments to this world. He said, "Where is my well-wisher Vidura and mother Gandhari, who was grieving over losing her offspring? Has the old king, having lost his sons, distressed with mind full of doubt about my ingratitude and offenses, drowned himself together with his wife in the Ganges? After the downfall of my father, King Pandu, they were the well-wishers who protected us, all of us still being small children. Where have my uncles gone from here?" Sutta Goswami, remember this is a story that Sutta Goswami said, Sanjaya, who, being worried out of love for his master, could not find him, was upset about the separation and could, being too aggrieved, not speak a word in reply. Thinking about the feet of his master, he with his hands wiped the tears from his face. He restrained himself and replied, King Yudhishthir. Replied to King Yudhishthir. Sanjaya said, "I do not know what your uncles or Gandhari had in mind, O descendant of the Kuru dynasty. O great king, these great souls have fooled me." That very moment, the Supreme Personality, Narada, arrived there with his musical instrument. Yudhishthir and his younger brothers got up from their seats to welcome him properly by offering their obediences. The king thereupon said, "O Supreme One, O Narada, I do not know in which direction my uncles and aesthetic aunt, who is most aggrieved about the loss of her sons, have left. Like a captain on a ship in the great ocean, you are the Lord to guide us to the other side." Thus being addressed to the divine personality, Narada, the greatest among sages, said, "O king, never lament, for whatever reason, for the universe is controlled by the Supreme Lord. All living beings and their leaders perform their ceremonies in order to be protected. He is the one who brings everybody together and also disperses them again. The way a cow is tied by a rope through the noose, one the same way is tied by the hymns and precepts of the Vedas to follow the demands of the Supreme One. The way in this world playthings at will are brought together and separated again, it also happens to people who, subjected to the game of the Lord, are brought together and separated again. Whether one considers persons eternal or temporal, or else as both, as neither of both, because the absolute truth was transcendental to all attributes, they never understand any circumstances should constitute a reason for lamentation. One is only that way because one got emotionally involved or one has lost one's mind. Therefore, O king, give up the anxiety you feel from lacking in self-knowledge. Do not longer think how these helpless poor creatures would be able to survive without you." Narada is saying people come and go in our lives all the time. We get together and we leave. Often. But it's not up to you to lament about those who have left from your presence or have left your congregation, your group. At the end of time and at the beginning of time, we're all going to the same place. The only reason we should lament, or the only reason we do lament devotees, what Narada is saying here, is because we got emotionally involved or we've lost our minds. I think it's important to realize that, again, people will come and go in our lives. But it's not up to us to have to worry about every single move they make, every single step they take, and every single action they perform. Because at the end of the day, their duty is their own duty. It's not our duty for us to tell them how they need to live, what they need to do, and how they need to perform it. And that's exactly what Narada is saying here. Narada is telling Yudhishthira that you don't need to worry about your great kings. He's also telling Sanjaya and a few other folks in the congregation, you shouldn't worry. you shouldn't have to worry. Somebody has a duty they need to fulfill, so they left. They went to go fulfill that duty. But it shouldn't be your concern where they are, what they're doing, or how they're doing it. The words that you speak, the things that you say, become insulting at times too when you're talking about certain people and how they left. Focus on your own duties, focus on your own task, and let that person live the life they need to live, perform the duties they need to perform. Because remember, at the end of the day, devotees, who was responsible for enacting the actions in this world that you are to perform? That's only going to be you. You are responsible and in charge of your own duty, nobody else. So you've got to make sure that you're focused on what you need to do and not what everybody else is doing. Stay out of other people's business, essentially is what Nada is saying. How is this body, we are now in verse 46 of chapter 13, book 1. How is this body, which is made out of the 5 elements, fire, water, air, earth, and ether, and is controlled by time, by materially motivated action, and by the modes of nature, kala, karma, and the gunas, capable of protecting others, when it is just as well bitten by that snake? One living being is the livelihood of another. Those who have no hands, the animals essentially, are at the mercy of the ones who do have hands, the humans, living with beings without limbs that are at the mercy of the 4-legged ones. The weaker ones are at the mercy of the stronger ones. Look therefore only for him, the Supreme Personality, who by the power of illusion appears as diversity. He, O King, is the one soul of self-realization of all souls, who manifests himself both inside of them and outside of them. He, the Father of all creation, the Supreme Lord, has now, O Great King, descended in this world in the form of time. And we talk about time, as he says here, as death and all-devouring, in order to eliminate everyone inimical to the enlightened souls. The Lord, on their behalf, did what he had to do, and is now awaiting the rest. You, Pandavas, the same way you must wait and see, for as long as he is present in this world. So look only for the Supreme Personality is what Nada is saying. Don't worry about the other physical material people in this world. They're doing their duty, they're doing their things. What do you need to look out for? Who do you need to be constantly looking for, worrying about? Not any individual person at this point in time. You need to be looking out for God, worrying about God, seeking God, trying to attain non-material super soul. And that's hard for us to think about, devotees, because at this point in time, me personally, I'm trying to figure out what is Serena, Andy, and Bella doing downstairs. What is my wife, my baby, and my dog? What are they doing right now? And yeah, I try to focus on Bhagwan, but on that note, like as a homeowner and as a father, as a new father too, my mind doesn't always wander about. My mind does wander to think about those around me, my friends, my family, the people in this household, the people that are coming over, and it doesn't always fathom that thought of the super soul from beyond. And that happens when I tend to sit down and pray and become introspective, but I'm not doing it all the time. So there's a learning point for me too, that I have to focus on the Supreme Lord. I shouldn't focus on everybody else. Because at the end of time, at the end of my time, right? Because time for me is that all-devouring, consuming thing. I'm going to have to merge somewhere. I'm going to have to go somewhere. And if I focus too much on this material world, that's where I'm staying. Dhritarashtra, his brother Vidura, and his wife Gandhari have departed for the southern side of the Himalayas, where the sages have their refuge. The place is known as Saptasrota, the 7 sources, because the river of the heaven sprouts there, and to the satisfaction of the 7 different sages, divides herself into the 7 currents we know as her branches. By bathing regularly there, sacrificing the fire according to the regulative principles, and fasting on drinking water only, Dhritarashtra has completely subdued his mind and senses and is thus freed from begging for food. He's also stopped relying on his family, being dependent on them for every need. With the help of the sitting postures, breathing control, and turning one's mind inward away from the 6 senses, one can absorb in the Lord, conquer the contaminations of passion, goodness, and ignorance by allowing himself to merge with the wisdom, and the wisdom to merge with the pure witnessing. He has united himself with the Absolute and the foundation of pure existence, the same way the air within a pot merges with the space outside of it. When he, no longer hindered in renouncing all of his duties, sits down, concentrated without moving limbs, his senses and mind becomes breaking with the effects of the operating modes of nature. It will no longer be fed and come to a full stop. I expect that he will quit his body 5 days from now, O King, and it will turn into ashes. While she outside observes the body of her husband catching fire along with his cottage, His chaste wife, in full awareness, will follow him into the blaze. Vidura, witnessing what wonderful incident, O son of the Kuru dynasty, will, with mixed feelings of delight and grief, then leave the place for sake of visiting holy places. After Nara thus had addressed the king, he, together with his stringed instrument, rose up into heaven. Yudhishthir, taking his instructions to heart, thereupon gave up all his lamentation. Now, I want you to kind of think about what happened here, because when Yudhishthir first asked, where are they? He said, where is my well-wisher, Vidura, and mother Gandhari, who was grieving over losing her offspring? Has the old king, having lost his sons, distressed with a mind full of doubt about my ingratitude and offensive, drowned himself together with his wife in the Ganges? So rather than looking and seeing what Dhritarashtra did positively, he was trying to assume, and he made ill intent towards where Dhritarashtra went. And Nara had pretty much put him in his place. And this is a really important concept. We call it gossiping, rumors, making up things about people all the time. But essentially what Nara told him was, you got the wrong thought here, bro. You have the wrong thought here entirely. Dhritarashtra and his wife left to go merge with the Absolute. While he may be submerging himself in the Ganges, he's doing it to connect himself to God, not to kill himself, not to take his own life, and not to be the ill-willed person you think that he is. You need to sit down and realize that he has decided to move on to the next stage in his life, which is focusing and surrendering to the Absolute and giving his soul and body up back to the Absolute. Yet what you tend to see and what you're seeing right now is the negative aspects, and you're still having negative thoughts that are coming out from this war. Understand, devotees, that when somebody's not around you, you cannot assume and you cannot know exactly what they're doing. And that's why Narad is pretty much saying, don't focus on anybody else. Don't have any worries or griefs about anyone else, because you want to know why. At the end of the day, you don't know what that person is doing. You don't know how they're doing it, but they're living their lives. And for all we know, they could be doing the utmost best in this world. They could be also doing the utmost evil. We don't know, but we cannot always assume ill intent. So you said one thing, Yudhishthir, but I'm telling you how it is now. Dhritarashtra, even though he had his problems, is breathing. He's controlling his mind. He's turned away from the six senses, and he's conquered passion, goodness, and ignorance. He's conquered those modes of material nature. He's allowed himself to merge with the Absolute. He's no longer hindered because he's renounced his duties. He's concentrated, and he will merge with the Supreme. You still, though, live here on this physical world. It's a very strong message in chapter 13 that we have to recognize, devotees, that our business is our business. Other people's business is their business. It is not our business to get into their business when they're not around us. Don't worry about all other people at all times of the day. Worry about you. Worry about your duties. Worry about and focus on the things that you need to do. That's going to be hard for those of us who have kids, for those of us spouses, for those of us who still have family. We're always going to think about them. We're always going to worry about them. But at the end of the day, let them perform their duties and never assume ill intent on their part. Always assume that they're doing their duties as needed. And with that, devotees, we've come to the end of chapter 13 for book 1 of the Srimad Bhagavad Puran. We'll continue on next week, moving into chapter 14. Prem se Bolo Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki Jai. At this time, devotees, I ask that you join together with me now as we begin chanting our closing prayers. So at this time, devotees, go ahead and clasp your hands and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, relax your spine, relax your shoulders, your neck, your forehead, relax your entire body. With your body relaxed, I want you to void your mind of all negative thoughts, all negative emotions. Clear your mind of any physical thoughts of this world, any material thoughts, and focus on a form of Bhagwan that's most pleasing to you. Picture where you want to go, that absolute that you want to achieve. Focus solely on Him. Surrender yourself to Him. Open your heart and your soul to Him. And join together with me, devotees, as we chant these closing prayers. Om Sarvesham Swasti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shanti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purunam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Om Sarve Sukhino Bhavantu, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashantu, Ma Kaschat Tukabhag Bhavet. Om Mantrihinam Kriyahinam भक्त्यैनं जनार्दनं यत्य पूजितं मया देवा परिपूर्णं तरस्तु मे पापोऽहं पापकर्माहं पापो आत्मा पापो सम्भवा त्राहि मां पुण्डरीकाक्षं सर्वपापो हरो हरि ॐ त्वमेव माताश्च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव ॐ अस्तु मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युमामृतं गमय हरि ओं शान्ति 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 हरि ओम् ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः ॐ हौ शान्तिरन्तरिक्षगुं शान्तिर्पृथिवी शान्तिरापा शान्तिरौषधे शान्तिर्वनस्पति शान्तिर्विश्वदेव शान्तिर्ब्रह्मा शान्तिर्सर्वं शान्तिर्शान्तिरेव शान्ति सामा शान्तिरेधि हरि ओं शान्ति शांति शांति ही हरि ओम तत्सत। प्रेम से बोलो गणेश भगवान की जय, प्रेम से बोलो आदि शक्ति दुर्गा माता की जय, प्रेम से बोलो विष्णु भगवान की जय, प्रेम से बोलो शिव शंकर भगवान की जय, प्रेम से बोलो शिव शक्ति मंदिर की जय, प्रेम से बोलो सनातन धर्म की जय। Devotees, with this, we've come to the end of our Sunday morning satsang, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here and joining with me today as we perform our virtual service today being July 31st. I do apologize for having to go virtual, devotees. It's just been a very busy week, and I still wanted to bring you content, but I wasn't able to make it to Mandir, so we decided to move virtually for today. But I hope that you all have enjoyed the service for today. If you'll give me 1 second, I will check to see who is chatting live with us. I got to make sure I turn my volume down because I don't want to blast the microphone again. And I do apologize again to devotees for the delay we had in service this morning. I was running into some technical difficulties. My computer just wasn't loading up. But to those who are chatting, to Auntie Zandra, to Indira Didi, and to Auntie Drew, Jay Sita Ram, to every single one of you, and thank you for tuning in and chatting in the chat. And for those of you who texted me while we were doing service, Jay Sita Ram, to all of you as well. In regards to some announcements, devotees, we have a few things that are coming up in the month of August, because August actually starts tomorrow. I feel like this calendar year is going by really, really quickly. So starting on Thursday, let me find it. On Thursday, August 11th, that is the day known as Raksha Bandhan. So that's not this coming Thursday, that's next Thursday. That will be the period of Raksha Bandhan. So for those of you who have siblings, so specifically brothers and sisters, especially if you don't live next to each other, sisters, and you can't tie a Rakhi onto your brother, mail one to them. You still have the ability to mail a Rakhi to your brother and or sister or anybody in your life, right? So, you know, Sue does it every year. Every year she can't come down. She lives in New Jersey. So she sends us a Rakhi to my brother and I. She sends it to my parents' house and my mom ties it on it. So we'll send her a gift. Usually we'll Venmo her or something. So we still celebrate, we still communicate, and we still honor that time period as siblings. So again, that's Thursday, August 11th. And then we have two major events coming up this month as well, devotees. Thursday, August 18th is known as Krishna Janamashmi, the birth of Bhagwan Shri Krishna. And then Tuesday, August 30th, we'll be celebrating Shri Ganesh Chaturthi. It's going to be a Ganesh Puja. Again, those services will be done virtually here. We'll also have them in person. And in regards to the time and some of the other details, we'll have that for you next week as we get a little bit closer to those dates. But just know that's coming up here on Thursday. And then September and October and November, we've got a few other things that are going on. I'll update you though on those things as we get closer, because I don't want to inundate everybody with too much information for now. But with that being said, those are all the announcements I have from the Mandir calendar side. In regards to birthdays this week, we had 3 people who celebrated birthdays as far as we're aware of. First and foremost, to Auntie Farida de Frida, she celebrated her birthday this week. Happy birthday to you. To Auntie Mala Sahid, who celebrated her birthday this week, we say very happy birthday to you as well. And to my god sister, And to the daughter of Panditej, to Ashwini, to Ash, she celebrated her birthday on Thursday of this week. So to Ash, very happy birthday to you as well. Happy birthday to all three of you. I do apologize if I don't have your birthday down here. Please let us know. For anybody who celebrated anniversaries or any other special occasions this week, very happy anniversary to you all, and congratulations and happy whatever you may be celebrating this week as well. Only another announcement I have, and the last thing I want to end out is for those kids who are starting school back tomorrow. For those of you who are going into new grades, new levels, for those of you who are going into new ventures, whether it be sports, athletics, any extracurricular activity, if it's things like chess or any other clubs, my best wishes to every single one of you. The only thing I can tell you as you get back into the school year is just keep a level head, stay calm, and everything will be okay. I say this all the time to anybody who's going into a new venture. It's very nerve-wracking whenever you start something new. Your heart is racing, your mind is wandering, everything's going a mile a minute, and you're trying to process and do the best that you can, but it's overwhelming. And what I need to tell you and what you need to know is at the end of the day, it's all going to be okay, and that it's not going to be nearly as bad as you think it is. I guarantee you what goes on in your head is infinitely worse than how it's actually going to be. It's infinitely worse than how it's actually going to be. So I promise you everything will be okay. You guys are going to do great in your new educational ventures and your new schools, with your new teachers, with your new friends and colleagues, and everything that you do. So best of luck to every single one of you. Keep a calm mind, and I wish you the best with this upcoming school year. And with that being said, devotees, I hope you all have a safe, wonderful, happy, and healthy week. Check up on one another. Stay safe, as I mentioned earlier, and we'll see you next Sunday in person for a regular Sunday morning satsang. To everybody watching, Jai Sita Ram.